If you are looking for a screen clearing and single target machine, this Necromancer build is just for you. It will fill your screen with blood and bones and easily clear all content while looking absolutely awesome. Welcome to the Maxroll channel. I'm Sarok and this is my Spirit Wave guide for Necromancer in Diablo 4 Season 6. Let's go over the gear for the build. This build is centered around the Blood Artisan's Kurast chestplate and spamming Blood Wave with no cooldown so that you can spawn Blood Orbs that can be consumed with Blood Lance, utilizing the Gorquil's aspect. The Fast Blood aspect is what brings this build all together. This allows for the Blood Orbs that are consumed with Gorquils to reduce the cooldown of your Blood Wave, which allows for you to spam Blood Wave, which then spawns more Blood Orbs to be consumed and activate the Blood Artisan's Kurast to spawn an unholy amount of Bone Spirits. There are three uniques for the build. While the build is centered around Blood Artisan's Kurast, Shaco and Starless Skies are a huge quality of life for maintaining the cooldown of this build and meeting your attack speed and critical strike chance caps. It is important to try to get your masterwork and crits on the CDR of Shaco and attack speed of Starless so that you have the smoothest gameplay as possible. You will need to make sure you reach 100% critical strike chance and as high attack speed as you can get from your gear. To assist with reaching critical strike chance, we use the sacrificial aspect on the gloves, which boosts the sacrificial stats from the Book of the Dead. This gives you a 15% critical strike chance from this aspect alone, on top of the other multiplier buffs. This paired with Memento Mori gives you a base critical strike chance of a whopping 24%. Maximum Life directly scales the damage from Blood Artisan's Kurast, and you want to grab that on your boots, pants, main hand focus, and your second ring slot. Of course, intelligence is also a major stat for any Necromancer build. One other stat that you may not be expecting is on your second ring slot. You will want to get lucky hit chance to make enemies vulnerable, and if possible, try to get that as a greater affix. This helps with the uptime of vulnerable as you will not have to constantly spam corpse tendrils, especially while speed farming. While we always want to try to get the highest values on our aspects as possible, your Fast Blood aspect needs to be near perfect. This build functions solely on the cooldown of Blood Wave and your ability to constantly spam that to generate your Blood Orbs. The higher your Fast Blood, the faster your Blood Wave resets and ultimately allowing for infinite spamming of Blood Wave and Bone Spirits. To begin with our skill tree, we are going to max out Bone Spirit as all of our damage from this build comes from the Bone Spirits that are spawned from the Blood Artisan's Kurast. We also take the Enhance, but that is only to get to the Ghastly Bone Spirit to get us an additional 10% critical strike chance on our Bone Spirits. We also max out Blood Wave to get more cooldown, damage reduction from the Enhanced, and to spawn 6 Blood Orbs with the Spring Blood Wave. To enable the build, we take 1 into Blood Lance, which when cast will consume the Blood Orbs utilizing the Gorquil's aspect, 1 into Enhance to reach the Paranormal Blood Lance, which gives you an additional 15% attack speed. A neat synergy with a few passives are that Hued Flesh being the corpse generator to fuel our necrotic carapace that grants us Fortify. This synergizes incredibly well with our new passive, Titan's Fall, which grants a damage multiplier when you're fortified. The key passive for this build is Ossified Essence. This passive grants a multiplier on our bone skill damage for each essence over 50 when our bone spirits are cast. With the incredible resource management with consuming blood orbs, you are always at max essence and receive a good multiplier from this passive. For some incredible utility, we utilize Decrepify, which grants us some damage reduction, applies slow to the target, and with the Enhance upgrade, a chance to stun, and a cooldown reduction from the abhorrent Decrepify. While Blight is a core skill and has its own build, we use it in this build as a multiplier, taking 1 into Blight, 1 into Enhance for increased size, and 1 into Supernatural Blight for a 20% multiplier. One quick note, the build uses Blood Mist, however we do not need to put any points into Blood Mist, as Shaco grants the skill ranks to utilize the skill, which is primarily used as our defensive and grants Unstoppable. To reach our critical strike chance, we use 2 passives that both add to the base critical strike chance. First is Memento Mori, which gives a 60% multiplier to our Skeletal Warrior and Skeletal Mage sacrifice, which paired with the Sacrificial aspect gives us a 24% critical strike chance, and we also grab Inspiring Leader, which is a 12% critical strike chance increase while healthy. We maintain a very high uptime on healthy as we have substantial sustain from our Necrotic Carapace for Fortify, and the Necrotic Fortitude passive for Barrier. First up in the starter board, we're using the Sacrificial Glyph. With this build sacrificing all of the minions, we get a 10% multi as well as boosting the rare nodes in the board which grant additional damage to elite and percent damage. Board 2, we have Bone Graft, and we're using the Essence Glyph here. With 100% crit chance, we are constantly benefiting from the Glyph's multiplier. The legendary note on this board gives us additional Essence, as well as damage. Board 3 is a big multiplier for this build. We are using Blood Begets Blood, and for the Glyph, we have Exploit. With a high uptime of Vulnerable from both Corpse Tendrils and chance to apply Vulnerable Affix, this is a solid multiplier. The legendary node is a massive 50% multiplier for consuming orbs, and with our Gorequills aspect, we are constantly refreshing this effect and always having it active. Board 4, we're using the new Frailty board with the Corporeal Glyph. Since Bone Spirit is physical damage, this is a good multiplier. With the Decrepify on all of your targets, you get a huge multiplier from the legendary node on this board. Finally, we're using the Scent of Death board with Control Glyph. Between Decrepify, Corpse Tendrils, and Concussive Strikes, the enemies are always crowd controlled to maximize the bonus on this glyph. While the legendary node on this board has 2 different effects, you will only benefit from the damage reduction effect as you do not consume corpses with this build.